Well, with kids back in school, a lot of them are back to playing sports, and that means concussions are a concern for some parents. Atlantic Health and Physical Therapy in Berlin has a system called the Biodex Baseline Testing Machine to see if maybe your child is at risk for a concussion. Now, Marvel Life's Brian Spiros is at Atlantic Health and Physical Therapy to show us a little bit more about the Biodex. Brian?
Well, Jimmy, this is the Biodex machine right here. We're going to show you how it works. But first, I want to introduce you to Bobby Hammond, who is the CEO of Atlantic Physical Therapy. First thing, Bobby, for people who may not, understand, what exactly is a concussion?
A concussion comes from the Latin word concutere or concussus. And concutere is to shake violently. Concussus means a striking action. And what happens is the brain, it gets shaken or, struck, and in some cases, it will hemorrhage, the slight hemorrhage of the brain. And, that's what a concussion is.
And it's very serious, and it can be deadly, too.
Yeah, oh, yes, it can be deadly. There's secondary impact syndrome, which occurs, prevalently in children and in adolescents. And what happens if someone has a concussion before the symptoms of the first concussion have subsided, it can cause death within minutes, days, or weeks of the second concussion.
And we're going to show people the Biodex here in just a second, but the one thing we want to mention is when people use it, they get a baseline study. They get a baseline study when they come use the Biodex here. And you encourage people to come in for free and kind of get that so that in the event they do get a concussion, you can kind of compare the readings before and after to see how serious it is.
Yes, we're offering free concussion baseline studies for any child in any of the school districts in our area for free. So why not take advantage of it?
Certainly. All right, so we're going to go show people the machine. Thank you very much. So we're going to go over here to Charles, who's a physical therapist here. So basically the first thing we should mention is that concussions can happen with any sport. It's not just football. It's not just soccer. There's multitudes of people who can get a concussion.
Anytime you have head trauma, you can have a concussion.
So cheerleaders, gymnastics, all of them.
All of them. Anything that you can strike your head against the ground or an object, you can cause a concussion.
All right, so this is the Biodex machine. First, we're going to talk about the concussions. Explain to me how this works and what it basically tells you guys when you use it.
There's a series of springs in the machine, and it gives us objective data on the screen, and then we can get a baseline reading. Then if the patient has a concussion, they come back and get another reading, and we can see how they compare. If they're way off, then you know something's still wrong, and it gives the coaches, the doctors, the neurologists objective data on whether they should send their player back into sports or not.
Because everyone heals differently, so it's not just someone saying, I think you're ready to go back. Basically, this tells you if the person is ready to go back or not.
Exactly. Concussions can take weeks to months to get better, if they get better at all.
All right, going from concussions to falls, you guys also do risk fall assessments on here with this machine. Explain how basically it works, and pretty much falls are common.
Falls are very common amongst the elderly. 1 in 3 fall in a year's time in their home. What this does is gives us a comparative. We can compare people in the same age group and see where their balance is. If we find that their balance isn't where it should be, then we look for different reasons why. Is it a neurological problem, a weakness problem, or even a cognitive problem, Parkinson's or dementia?
And really, even if people don't think, they have a problem with their balance, they could come in and find out that, in fact, they do.
Yes, sir. We're offering free tests to anyone who wants to come in and just give us a call, and we'll set it up for you. It only takes about 5 minutes.
Right. I did it before, actually. You get on there, the springs just move, and you just, try to see how well you can keep your balance. So obviously, very beneficial for people to come in and take advantage of.
Yeah, and it gives us objective data. It's just not our opinion. It gives us objective data that we can print out and save, and we can keep it forever and test you multiple times if you need it.
All right. Very good, Charles. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So 2 good things here. We have the fall, we have the concussions. This machine is proving to be very helpful, so people should definitely come on in and take advantage of it. With that said, Jimmy, we will send it back to you in the studio.
Brian, great stuff. Thank you very much. Well, now we're switching gears to talk about the health of your marriage. Still to come, the divorce rate among Americans over 50 was 1 out of 10 only 20 years ago. It's not the case anymore. Attorney Dean Betts explains how things have changed and what exactly is causing that change. Delmarva Life, life at its best here on Delmarva.